What fun when Mercury goes retrograde. Cars break, phones break, communication doesn't happen, miscommunication does happen, schedules fall apart, plans fall apart, all sorts of wonderful mishaps. And, honestly, they really are wonderful. For all of the perceived grief and pain and, really not pain, but just annoyance that it causes, Mercury in retrograde really gets us back to what's important in so many ways. Whenever a planet is retrograde, it means redoing. It means going back and doing the footwork needed to move forward, to have a solid foundation to move forward. So whenever Mercury is retrograde, that's why all these things are happening. So that we update our software, our hardware, Not every car is going to break, only the cars that have needed some kind of repair, Not every phone is going to break. Miscommunications aren't a necessity, but if you haven't been communicating from your heart, from what you really mean, if you haven't been saying what you mean to say, and if you haven't been meaning what you say, Mercury retrograde is a great chance, a great opportunity to pause, dial back, and figure all that stuff out. So it really is a blessing, even though it seems like a curse. Because it updates us, Even it's so ironic too, because it's updating us by perceptibly, at least, holding us back by throwing roadblocks into our way, obstacles. Again, perceived obstacles, perceived roadblocks. Every challenge is really a chance to step forward, to grow, to learn. Mercury goes retrograde 3 times a year. As of this video, it's retrograde. And I'll be doing another video talking about this particular retrograde. But Mercury in retrograde in general. So many miscommunications happen. It's inevitable in a lot of ways. It's really important when we know Mercury is retrograde to keep in mind and to not take other people's words to heart too seriously, to not get wrapped up in, well, what if they meant to say this, or what they appeared to say. With Mercury and Gemini, usually when I say something unintentionally, there's another layer. It's just how I speak. It's how my mind works. I'll say something and it means 2 things, or the person takes it another way. But it's not necessarily like a miscommunication. I mean, obviously what I was trying to say didn't quite get across, but maybe what did get across worked out in another way. When Mercury's retrograde, it seems like everybody has Mercury in Gemini, but it doesn't usually, it's not quite as benign as it usually is. I find with this energy that people are talking, and I've experienced this for myself too, that people are talking and one says this, they mean this, the other person hears this, they're saying this, the other person hears this. It's just like this huge clusterfuck of miscommunication, because people are perceiving what people are saying in a completely different light than what people are trying to say. And in fact, it's not just on the hearing end, it's hard to speak and to get your point across when Mercury's in retrograde. You really have to be careful and to go one step at a time and to dial back a second and relax. That's a huge part of Mercury in retrograde, is taking our time. In recognizing that, life is quick. Life is short. Ultimately, hell, man, we've got eternity. We're gonna keep coming back. We've got nothing to lose, so we might as well get it right this time, the first time, so we don't have to revisit it again, you know, in the next Mercury retrograde, for example, or any planetary retrograde. Mercury in retrograde for me is kind of like a vacation, you know? It's ironic because Mercury in retrograde affects us Geminis and Virgos especially. It really can mess up our system and just make us feel like, what the fuck? Before, I would feel so helpless because I couldn't communicate, and I always have relied on communication to such a huge degree in my life, you know? Up until retrogrades, really, and then I was like, fuck it, okay. I can stand to be quiet and to just let things flow as they need to, you know? At least for a couple weeks out of the year. But this is a lesson for all of us. Mercury retrograde is a lesson for all of us to relax, calm down, take things one step at a time, to do our best. That's all we can do. Can't ensure anything, can't guarantee anything. No one's perfect. Nobody has all the answers. But with Mercury in retrograde, we're given a tool to truly make progress. If we're aware of what's going on, if we're aware that it's retrograde, and that we're aware that, you know, I'm gonna get there. It doesn't matter how long it takes me. The journey is more important anyways. So I don't need to worry. I don't need to fret. I don't need to freak out because my phone's not working. I don't need to freak out because my laptop's not working, my car, my insert communication and or technology here. Miscommunications can be laughed off. They're laughed off later. You know, they're laughed at later between friends. You remember when I said that? Oh my god. Oh my god. You know. Or I meant to say that. It's a great opportunity for people to really connect and to really communicate. It's so ironic because it seems like there's so many obstacles, but that's just it. When you overcome those obstacles and you really become conscious of how you communicate or how you don't communicate, huge growth and huge strides are made. So yeah, Mercury happens retrograde 3 times a year. I'm not positive, but I've seen trends that it seems to happen always in Mercury and Cancer, which we're in right now as of this video. Sometime in like late November, so I don't know if that's like Mercury in Scorpio territory or Mercury in Sagittarius, maybe Capricorn, I don't know, I'm not sure. But around that time, November-ish. When's the other one? In March, I think? Around Pisces, Mercury in Pisces. It happens every year, 3 times a year. Might as well get used to it. We might as well tune in and just enjoy it, you know? Each planetary transit, each energy that's in us, around us, that comes our way, is a chance, you know? A chance to grow, a chance to learn. It's a new paradigm. And with this particular chance to grow, we're learning how to grow mentally, communicatively, and in relation to expressing. I feel like there's one more thing I have to say, but that could just be Mercury in retrograde playing tricks with me. Not only Sun sign Gemini and Virgo, but anyone with a lot of Gemini and a lot of Virgo in their chart is definitely going to feel retrograde more than others. Every time it's like a shock for me, you know. I find myself in retrograde. It'll be like 2 or 3. I'll even consciously know it's coming, you know, but it's not usually until like 2 or 3 days in that I'm reminded somehow. This time I was reminded by my friend, thank God. But it really does affect us mercurial energy people. That's our planet, you know. It and when it's going retrograde in relation to the Earth, um, it doesn't mean it's going backwards. By the way, astronomically speaking, retrograde doesn't mean that the planet is literally going backwards. It's just the perspective of the planet in relation to our earthly horizons, our earthly sight. It appears to be going backwards, and that's just it basically is in its orbit, our orbit, where we are, our perspective, and everything. And but it's a great analogy for how it seems to us, because again the energy is going backwards, it feels, because it so many obstacles. So anyways, I urge you to find where Gemini and Virgo is in your chart, and just keeping in mind of that energy in you when retrograde hits and how to make the most of it, for sure. Okay, that's all I have to say. Infinite love. Namaste.